Well, it's that time of year again for what I call the semi-annual migration of trees. It's October, and it's time to bring the tropical trees inside. I moved my bonsai room into this area here. It was in there. It was a little too narrow. So I moved it into this family room. So we begin. I grab a couple of trees from the bench outside. 2 down. Many, many more to go. And after a little bit of time, going up and down the stairs, back and forth, I got it about a third of the way filled in. So we're getting there. But I won't bore you through the entire process of me hauling them upstairs. You see a bunch on deck over there on the table, waiting to be put in there. While I'm working on this, how about I'll give you a little tour of the outside trees since fall is doing its thing and everything's nice and colorful. This is my green ash tree. Kind of funny that it dropped leaves on half of it and not the other half so far. But I guess it is a dual trunk, so maybe that's why. Maybe one of them dropped leaves and the other one didn't, I guess. This is my Shantung maple. I was pretty worried about it. It was kind of losing its bark, as you can see just a little bit there. But it seems to be doing fine. Had a nice healthy year. This is my Trident maple forest. I posted a video on this earlier this year. One of the trunks, which we'll see in a minute, only leafed out on the bottom half for some reason. I don't know why. It looked like it wanted to pop some growth out of the top there. See how it kind of bulges at the top? But it didn't. But that's okay. I've got a whole bunch of cuttings here that I think rooted, though I have been deceived before. I've had Trident maples specifically do this, where they stayed leafed out all year, and then turns out they had no roots at all. So we'll see in the spring. This is my silver maple, S-shaped silver maple. With its crazy root base that kind of makes no sense. I might correct it someday, or I might not. I might just let it be wild. Here's just a little oak tree. I got this from the Arbor Day Foundation. If you are a member, it's like $10 a year or something like that. You get to pick out 10 free trees per year, and they send you 10 free trees. This was one of them about 2 years ago, I think. Keeping my eye on that guy. Here's one of my Amur maples. Sorry, Amur maple. I said it wrong. This one I call curly because the trunk is sort of curled around. And then next to curly is the one I call straight because it's more of a straight, traditional, upright style. They had an okay year. They didn't grow as vigorously as they did last year for some reason. And this is my Jacqueline Hillier elm, which I'm kind of back to square one with it a little bit. The root base is kind of a problem. I think what I'm going to do is just ground layer it. See that? See how it's like it's not one solid trunk base. It's like several trunks. I let that branch go to try and fill in the gap down there, but it didn't really work, and now it just looks awkward and weird. Otherwise, it had a nice, healthy growing year. It's just confused about what it wants to do with its trunk. Here's a difference in leaves between a Siberian elm and a Jacqueline Hillier elm. Hopefully you can see the difference there. Jacqueline Hillier elm is much denser, much denser. Very cool trees, kind of rare too. Some type of hybrid that nobody knows where it originated. I think it was found in an English garden in the 60s, and they didn't know where it came from. Here's my oldest Siberian elm. I dug this up from the crack of a sidewalk, in between a sidewalk and a building, in 2017. All my Siberian elms are cuttings or air layers from this. So I repotted it into a bonsai pot just this year, and it had a nice healthy year. Pruned it twice, I believe. It's got a little bit of a reverse taper issue in the middle there, but we're working on it slowly but surely. Speaking of air layers, this was an air layer from that Siberian elm. I also repotted this into a bonsai pot this year. It did not do as good. You can see the difference in color of the leaves compared to the bigger one behind it. I'm not sure if there was a insect problem or what it was, but about half of my Siberian elms did this and the other half didn't. I have no idea why. This is another Siberian elm, just a little cutting that I kind of caught my eye as I was walking by the benches. You can see how this one looks nice and healthy and green. So I'm not sure why some had a rough year and some didn't. Here's a Chinese elm. Repotted it this year, and it had a rough start after I repotted it. I actually thought maybe it wasn't going to make it, but eventually it bounced back. This is kind of like your typical S-shaped bonsai. If you ever go to a bonsai place where they're selling them, you'll see a million of these. But I didn't have a Chinese elm yet, so I got it. And this is my boxwood. I bought this for like $5 or so at Walmart about 2 or 3 years ago. It was this big bush. Got a few videos on it. I've been working with it ever since. I really like it. It's a little thinned out at the moment on foliage, but I think I just trimmed it recently, and I did a trunk chop right there. Here's my $25 Costco crabapple tree. And I never noticed till just now that we've got 2 branches coming out of the same spot. I'll have to fix that in the spring. But yeah, I got this in 2020, right when COVID started. And there's the one crabapple produced. But yeah, it was just a regular fruit tree that they sell in their garden section, and I just have been bonsaiing it ever since. This is my honeysuckle. If you can believe it, this started as a cutting. It was about 5 years ago, I think. But yeah, that giant trunk just started as a cutting. It's lost almost all of its leaves. It had a good first half of the summer, and then the second half, or maybe the last third or so, it kind of just stopped growing. And so I think there might be some kind of insect issue going on with some of these trees. I'm not sure. This is a Catonister, another one that I thought died. In fact, I don't know if I've done a video on this one or not yet, but I repotted it this year into that bonsai pot, and it didn't grow until, I want to say like July, maybe. I have to choose which of these two top halves I'm going to keep because it looks too goofy the way it is. This one or this one? I think that one I'm going to do. So I'll keep the one on the right. It makes more sense. This is my blue star juniper. I've done a video or two on it. The color looks a little bit off to me for some reason. I don't know. I'd have to compare it with what it looked like last year at this time. Usually the needles do have kind of a blue color. But now it looks a little gray almost. I don't like the pot, so I'm going to repot it next spring. And this is a Hinoki cypress, which I've not done a video on. I have one put together. So I will be posting one at some point in the near future. Just kind of a cool little tree that I've always liked. It had a good year, I'd say. This is a New Mexican olive that I potted up into a bonsai pot just this year. It also had a slow start, but I've also noticed that these New Mexican olives tend to have a slow start in the spring. They bud out almost, I want to say last compared to all the other trees. So I didn't freak out. Great taper on it. It back buds everywhere. Nice and pretty to look at. I'm pretty happy with it. Could use a tiny trim just to tidy it up a little bit, but otherwise, I like it. This is a blue Arctic willow, or an Arctic blue willow. It's one of those type of, it's like a landscaping tree, or you see it at a business park, you know, next to the sidewalks, like a bush. And then landscapers come and they hack it down in the fall, and then spring it grows up again. It's like that. I wanted to try bonsaiing one. Clip and grow style is kind of tough on this. As you can see, it's messy and it just buds everywhere. So it's kind of a mix between hedge pruning and clip and grow. I call it selective hedge pruning. It's already died back twice on the right half there, but then back budded right under it. So I'm still figuring this one out. But it's got cool leaves, really small leaves. This particular one has a big fat trunk base. This is my dwarf Alberta spruce. I've been stealing moss from it for other trees. That moss just grew on its own, which is weird because that's never happened on my trees before. Most of the time, moss doesn't grow because of the city water here. It's got, I think, a little bit of chlorine in it or something. I'm not sure. So I had some dieback on top, which is fine. I didn't do much with it. I trimmed it once this year. Otherwise, just kind of let it be. Here's another Siberian elm that's kind of ugly at the moment, but the only reason I'm pointing it out at all is because I did a video on this a couple months ago or so, where it was an air layer from a much larger tree, and it almost didn't make it. But in the end, it pulled through, and as you can see, it's doing fine. So more on that next year. And here's my Virginia creeper. I'm not sure if I'd say it had a good year or not. It turned colors, as you can see, it's really dark red, which looks awesome. But it started turning red kind of early in the year, like August maybe. I'm not sure what to make of that. I think it might need a bigger pot, perhaps. I sort of neglect it a little bit. I just kind of let it grow. Here's one of my willows. So we'll look at a handful of these little guys. This one I got from Eric at Dreaming Green Nursery. He sent me this a couple of years ago. It's doing pretty good. It's about one of the only willows that I have in an actual bonsai pot. And even that, it's a big bonsai pot. But they just grow so fast and the roots grow so crazy that it's hard to put them in smaller pots. But I think it's doing good. Here's a few bonsai cuttings of willows. This one I like for some reason. It's got this dieback all up and down the side of it, and then you've got live growth on each side. Kind of cool. These are all corkscrew willows, by the way. There's another corkscrew willow that, just to give you a look, I've got a ton of these, honestly. Here's one I gave a little bit of styling to. Little curvature. You can see some of the moss that I stole from the dwarf Alberta spruce. Look at all those willows. I have no shortage of willows. Here's a few others. This is my Mega Willow Fusion that I'm working on. Just started it this year. It's healthy. This is a green corkscrew willow. Done a couple of videos on it. Had some dieback on it this year. This is a bay willow. Here's a couple of privets. I've done videos on these. They had a good year. One of them almost didn't make it. Not this one. This one did fine. I repotted both of them into these bonsai pots this year. This one leafed out just fine. Had a nice, good, healthy year. This one had a very slow start, and I thought for sure that it didn't make it. But ultimately, it bounced back, which is great because I think I like this one better than the other one. Maybe. I'm not sure. Now, status check. How are we doing in here? It's getting pretty full. And this isn't even all my tropicals. I've got a bunch in my home office downstairs, particularly the bigger ones that don't really want to fit in here. There's my Ficus benjamina, Bush to Bonsai 3. And then some other ficuses and scheffleras. Here's a look at the setup. Got my old TV, got my tripod, my desk. That's a south-facing window. I decided to keep my pomegranate out of the green tent. Grow tent this year. It's hard to see, but that's a view of the tree situation outside. I can look right out the window and see them. Hard to see because of the glare, but and then a few other random trees, scheffleras and ficuses. One that I just acquired recently from my friend Susan in Boise. Thank you, Susan, for the trees. There's another one that she gave me. But that's a look at my setup. So I got all my tropicals moved in now. So now we'll just settle in for the fall and the winter, and we'll move them back outside in the spring. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day.